War for the Planet of the Apes, the final film in the new trilogy that takes place before the events of the 1960s movie of Planet of the Apes, where we follow the events of Andy Serkis as the title character. Title character, he's not the title character, he's the main character. Just forget I said title character. He's Caesar. He's the main character in the Planet of the Apes franchise. This movie came out a couple days ago. Absolutely, without a doubt, this is one of the best trilogies in modern memory. I mean, you look at the Captain America trilogy, I think that one is probably the best example of a trilogy getting better each movie, and just doing a great job of doing so. We haven't had another good trilogy like that. When this movie came out, I knew right away it was going to be like that, because Rise of the Planet of the Apes, perfect movie. I loved the first one. The second one, even better. The third one, War for the Planet of the Apes. I liked it. I loved it. It was a great movie, but it wasn't better than the first two. I will admit that right now. I think this one had some really glaring flaws and a little bit too convenient, like, plot points that happened kind of near the end of the movie and just didn't really flow as well as I wanted it to. This is not a war movie. If you go into this movie thinking you're going to be seeing a war movie, it's not a war movie. And that sucks, because war is in the title. You think you're going to see war, but you don't. But I can move on from that. I really can if you tell me a good story and great characters, and that's what we got. We got a great story. There's one film this year I compared this to when I was talking about it earlier with other people, and that's Logan. It feels a lot like Logan because we've been with this character of Caesar for a long time, and we're seeing him now. He's an old man, he's battered, he's been through so much stuff, he's got a family, he's got this life he's living, and yet these forces that have been opposing him his whole life, they're coming back and they're opposing him again, and now he's got one last ride to save everything and do something great. The story of Caesar was one of the best stories to follow in modern memory, and just see him grow up to become a bigger and better character and a holy figure amongst the ape world. That, I think, was the part of this I really liked, was seeing the way Caesar was portrayed in this final story, because, oh my god, Andy Serkis did incredible. He did so good in this role. He made it his own. This is, I know, there's a lot of controversy. Should he get nominated for an Oscar? Is it a lot of the visual effects that do a lot of stuff too? There is. But look at the body of work that Andy Serkis has put into every performance and how he does not get recognized for his talents. He started the industry of the motion capture, he made it a character in itself, and he deserves the accolades for it. He does. This was probably the best portrayal of Caesar since the second movie and the first. Caesar's just been so fucking good, and this was just the perfect way to end the story of Caesar. All the side characters too, all the side apes, I guess, they were so fun, so great to see again. They each had their own personality, and this could be so flawed where they just all look the same, don't have anything going on, but they made them unique, they made them different and have interesting things going on. Maurice is the grounded character that we needed in the movie like this, because there's certain things that happen to Caesar that take him down this path of destruction and self-regret and just all these things, but Maurice is the perfect person in there to keep him right on the right balance and do these kind of things. Rocket, a great character too, he was just so fun. Luca had some really great moments, and this character named Winter, he was a really interesting character to follow too, I gotta say. But, oh man, Woody Harrelson, not the best villain we've seen in these movies. I think he's probably the worst that we've seen. But something about it I found really believable for the story they were telling, that you could see a man like this as a authoritative figure come into power, even though the other people of the world are kind of against him, but he's found his own kind of niche group of people that trust him and believe in him. I completely buy that story. I can definitely see that story being told, and I think it makes sense for the final conclusion of this saga, of this trilogy. There was not a piece of... I don't think there's a scene in this movie that was out of place. I think everything led up to the events happening next. It was heartfelt, it was emotional, everything worked, and you just cared so much about every little thing that the characters did. The character of Nova, who is a character in the 1968 movie, she was great in here. Just the subtle little things she did, and we learned certain things about certain characters that are in those other movies. I thought that was really good, and it really made sense, and it made me believe the story more. This was such a fucking great movie. Like, I was sitting in the theater just watching every scene like, I can't believe I'm watching this movie. I can't believe I'm watching a movie where I'm rooting for apes to take over the world from humans. And it was such a compelling story, and you feel for everything that goes on through the characters. So many emotional beats. And this is definitely way off topic, but Matt Reeves can direct. This guy can direct. He's gonna knock the Batman out of the park, because he is such a great director. I was just so enthused about this movie. It was my #1 most anticipated movie this year. This is how you close out a trilogy on a high note. You have great direction, great cinematography, great visual effects, great character-driven story that you're going to care about. You're going to feel invested in. It's going to be emotional because that's what this story was from the get-go. It was all those things because that's the kind of story we got. War for the Planet of the Apes is the kind of movie that is what a film needs to be. The Rise of the Planet of the Apes trilogy is what a trilogy should be. You take the character, follow him on all of his adventures, his ups and downs, and you see a great story be told. There's nothing that will compare to this good of a trilogy that I think we'll see in a long time. I think the next closest thing we could see is John Wick to be that good of a trilogy. But why am I going on a rant about other things? Because this movie is just so good. Every little thing about it. This is one you have to go out and see in the theaters. You have to enjoy this film because this is one of the greatest movies of the year. It was so enthralling. It was so fun, so emotional. It had all the right beats. It had a great narrative flow. All the characters were great. All the villains were great. You cared about everything that happened. And Steve Zahn as Bad Ape, on another level of acting. That was so good. Such great stuff going on. It was brilliant. This is the first film this year that I think is absolutely brilliant. Yes, Wonder Woman and Logan, they're brilliant too. But this is on another level of brilliance where it takes the character and what it does. So, War for the Planet of the Apes, I'm going to give a 94%. Let me know what you guys think of this movie, and you know what? I'll catch you in the next video. Good luck.